Welcome to episode 2 of My Clutching Guide. We're going to be going over the function of the primary clutch in your UTV and snowmobile and how it adjusts your quote-unquote gearing in order to give you optimal performance. I have William from Ibexx to explain how this works and how we can have optimal performance for your UTV and snowmobile. William?
Thank you, Dylan. I just happen to have a prop here in front of us that we'll take a look at to show you how the primary clutch works.
Great, let's get into it. Alright, William, we have a primary clutch in front of us, but I still don't actually understand what exactly a primary clutch is and what it does. Could you help me explain that?
It's a great question. So, there's a primary clutch and a secondary clutch. Those explanations seem very complicated, right?
Right.
So, really, for your understanding, the primary clutch is the one that's bolted to the engine.
Okay.
This one regulates RPM. It moves in and out to change your gear ratio. And in doing so, it keeps you at a specific RPM.
Okay. I'm still not understanding exactly how on earth this is supposed to adjust my ratio. Could you help me explain exactly what parts are intertwined in it?
So, let's start with the breakdown of pieces that are in here. So the first thing you can see, starting from the outside here, is the spring cover. This holds the spring to the second piece, which is the movable sheave. Here, and I know these don't match, but they'll give you the idea. This sheave moves in and out with the spring cover, as you can see when Dylan squeezes that.
So when I'm pulling this back, that spring is compressing, right?
Yes. The part that I didn't show you in this little hand is what is called the spider. The spider is seated against the main shaft and doesn't move. It stays fixed. So when this cover moves, it crushes the spring. The other side of it that the spider is hooked to is the fixed sheave. This one doesn't move, and it's connected to the shaft on your engine. And the spider is screwed on. Within the spider, you have rollers. These rollers are designed to have flyweights fly against them. The flyweights in this particular clutch are down inside there.
So that's
and they
what
move
flyweights right there.
They move around. This flyweight's job is to convert centrifugal force to linear force. As this rotates, the force from spinning swings the weights out. That centrifugal force swings the weights out, crushing the spring. Those weights flying against the roller and the fixed spider pushes the movable sheave shut, converting the centrifugal force into linear force to move the sheave. The next thing is the belt that sits in here. As that closes, it slides the belt up. This changes your gear ratio.
So when people say there's an infinite amount of gears, this is what they're talking about.
Absolutely. You can adjust. This can move anywhere from 0 to full speed, and infinite number of increments.
So William, I've noticed that there's an angle to these sheaves right here that you're speaking of. What's the point of that?
So that angle is matching the angle on the belt, and that is what pushes the belt up and down as it squeezes on the belt.
Okay, just to recap, we have our fixed sheave, which is directly attached to the crankshaft of the motor, correct? We've got our movable sheave that moves and adjusts the ratio. So here is our clutch flyweight, and it attaches directly to our movable sheave, which as centrifugal forces increase, it moves like this against our roller, which is located just on the spider. And from there, we've got our spring, which, William, could you explain a little bit more about what the spring does?
So the spring's purpose is to return the clutch to neutral when centrifugal force lowers. So when you let off the throttle, the clutch will shift down as if you were shifting in your manual transmission to a lower gear. The spring is what helps return it back to neutral.
Great, that's great. And then from there, we've got our spring cover, which helps lock in that spring, right?
Yes.
And all of these components together are part of the CVT transmission, and this is what we call the primary clutch. Well, thank you very much, William, for joining me here today to help explain the primary clutch. Next, we're going to be going over the secondary clutch and exactly how that works. William, you going to be joining me next time?
Sounds like a fun time.
All right. You can catch us on My Clutching Guy on YouTube, or you can check us out on Ibexx.com.